All right, we kind of lost y'all for a little bit. Basically, Glenn Hill just kind of wrapped it up, saying that he knows something. The Eagles know something that we don't, and he likes this pick, and he could end up being a steal for them. So we'll see. But would you give the grade Glenn Hill for this one?
I gave it a B.
Okay, that's fair. Gage.
Glenn kind of convinced me a little bit. I'm gonna give it a little bit of higher grade. I'm not gonna be as harsh on this. I'm gonna give it a C plus, lean towards the B minus. I don't know. It's actually a decent pick by him. I like TCU. I like this receiver. I just don't know if he adds much more to it, though. He might be an Aguilar. He's an average route runner whose highlight reel is filled with plays where he's just running by corners with 4.6 speed, which really isn't that fast. His production fell off the cliff in 2019, but that's just because of TCU's quarterback problems. But I don't know. They could have gotten a steal. Maybe you're right, Glenn Hill. Maybe it's maybe the Eagles are seeing something that we aren't seeing. So I'm just going to give it a C plus because they could have taken Justin Jefferson, who I think is just a much better receiver. But I'll give it a C plus.
Yeah, I think so too. But speaking of Justin Jefferson, Minnesota went ahead and picked Justin Jefferson next. They needed to address the receiver position after the loss of Stephon Diggs. And so this is the perfect guy to do it. I think he fits well with Minnesota. I think he fits well with Kirk Cousins. He was in a good offense last year, an amazing offense with an amazing team with LSU, and I think he's going to be a really good receiver. So I love this pick from Minnesota, and I think it's a B plus A minus range. So I think I'm honestly leaning towards an A minus right here for the Minnesota. They automatically replaced Stephon Diggs' hole right here, and they fill him with Adam Thielen. This is a good pick. Minnesota's the favorite to win that division. Great pickup, A minus, Glenn Hill.
Yeah, I think he had to go. I think the Vikings had to go receiver here. You lose Stephon Diggs. Adam Thielen had some, it looks like had some hamstring issues last year. Irv Smith Jr., who was a second-round pick for the Vikings last year, was decent, but he's not really a major difference maker, at least right now. I think he had to get someone else to complement Thielen. I don't think Thielen is a legit number one guy. As good as he is, I don't think he can be a guy that's going to completely take over and be the number one dude. So I think you at least need to add someone else in there, add another talented guy in there. I think I like Jefferson a lot. I think he's a good pick for them. I'm gonna give it. Let's go A. I'll go A minus.
Gage.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B plus, leaning towards an A minus. Jefferson played in LSU's loaded offense, which boosted his production, but very well-rounded receiver can play the slot or line up outside. You don't typically see those guys dominate contested catch situations, but Jefferson did that in the highlight reel that I saw. He has really unique route running style, and I don't know if it'll work in the NFL, but if it does, I think he'll be like a star. And Gary Kubiak should get the most out of this talented prospect. So I think it's a good pickup by the Vikings, and I feel like this will go well with Adam Thielen. So yeah, we'll give it a B plus.
Very nice. Next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going ahead and getting another OU guy. They got Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma. Kenneth Murray, he was the leader of that OU defense. He's very physical, big. He's a tackling machine. The Chargers needed to get a defensive guy after they decided to get their guy and then Herbert. So they went ahead and got Kenneth Murray, who I thought was probably around the same range. I thought he was going to fall maybe early 20s, late 20s in the first round, anyways. So this is right where I had him falling, and it's a good pickup. He's a tackling machine. I watched him play for a year at OU. He's a good player. This is a B plus. I like it. Glenn Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot too. I think he makes a lot of tackles. He's got good speed. He can shoot gaps and disrupt plays in the backfield. I think there is I think there's room for improvement, but I think the Chargers will use him well. They have they've had historically good defenses in the last few years. I think Murray's a guy who can step in and make big plays. They released Thomas Davis, who was their led their team in tackles, so they kind of need a linebacker to come in there and make some big plays. And I think Murray's that guy. I I do like this pick for the Chargers. I think this is also right where I had him falling, so they didn't really reach for him. I'm reading here that they drafted a defensive player in the first round of 4 of the last 5 drafts. So it looks like they're building a nice, young, talented defense, and Murray's gonna help add to that as a solid playmaker. So I'll give this a B+ for Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Chargers defense is looking real nice. They got Kenneth Murray, they got Melvin Ingram, they got Joey Bosa, they picked up Chris Harris Jr. Derwin James, they picked up Chris Harris Jr. from the Broncos. They have Casey Hayward. They have Desmond King. Their defense is loaded, man. Like they should be good.
Mm-hmm.
And now moving on from Phillip Rivers, that could be another team that gets back to their winning ways after a disappointing 2019 campaign. All right, next we got the New Orleans Saints. They get a center for the second year in a row, and Cesar Ruiz. You get Eric McCoy last year for A&M, who's their guy now, and then you go ahead and pick up another center. I don't see why the Saints don't go. They don't go linebacker here. Or if they don't go defense here. This is what's been holding them back. And Patrick Queen was sitting right there for their linebacker. I thought Patrick Queen was going to be the guy that they were going to get. I was like, that would be a perfect pickup for the Saints. Another LSU dude. And then they get Cesar Ruiz at center for Michigan, another center. It helps Drew Brees out, but a center for the second year in a row. I don't like this. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like this one. For a team that's like, especially like a consistent win now team, especially Drew Brees is getting to the end of his career. They got they're running out of chances to win a Super Bowl one last time. This just isn't the pick you go when you got to build a complete team to win the Super Bowl. So I don't like it. I'm sorry. I'm giving the Saints a D+. And maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I'm sorry. I just do not like this pick. Go ahead, Hill.
Yeah, I think Ruiz is a guy that I think a lot of people had maybe falling a little bit further. I think he was a top-rated center in the draft, but I think the Saints maybe did reach for him a little bit. I think right now with Drew Brees as your quarterback, you only got a couple more good years left. I think the time to go try and win a Super Bowl and strike is now. I think in order to make the best push for that, I think you probably had to address the defense. Now, I didn't really – did the Saints address – they drafted a guy from Wisconsin in the second round. His last name is Bond. So I think that was a really good pickup for them. He's a linebacker. But it looks like they only drafted one, and then they drafted a quarterback in the 7th round. But it looks like they only drafted one really key defensive player. So I would have liked the Saints to see maybe go a little bit more defensive heavy. Like you said, Patrick Queen may have been a better pick there. So I think Cesar Ruiz is a solid player. I think he'll be a solid player for the Saints. I think the coaching staff in New Orleans is really good, and they're going to use him in the right way. But I do question whether or not this was the right position they should have gone with here. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay. Yeah, and this was my first D of the draft, the first round, by the way. Gage?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Glenn Hill. I'm going to give this, for the Saints, a C. I like Cesar Ruiz as a player, but they did get a good player, but I really don't understand why they drafted him with this pick. New Orleans already drafted a center in the second round last year, and he started all 16 games. Same with their left guard. They got Pete. He just got an extension, and right guard Warford played well in 2019. Unless someone's getting traded, this is an odd pick for a team that has to win now mode. I like the pick, but I don't think it's the best fit for him as a player to go to the Saints.
Very nice. And then the San Francisco 49ers, another first-round pick from the Vikings. Man, stop giving the players to San Francisco, man. They already freaking went to the Super Bowl. We don't need them getting even more good players. They get Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State. This guy, he's solid. I don't know too much about him, but they did need to address the receiver position here. With with the loss of Emmanuel Sanders, and then they just traded Marquise Goodwin to the Eagles. So yeah, I mean, I think receiver was a good necessity for them. It helps Jimmy G out, and he's a solid player. He's not. I don't think he's going to be as good as these other receivers on the board, but he's going to be. I think he's going to be solid. So and he'll work there with another young receiver core over there. So I think this is a good fit for the 49ers. Good pickup. It's solid. I give it a B. Gledhill.
Yeah, you lose Emmanuel Sanders, who just signed with the Saints. I think Ayuk is a guy who can start day one. And I think, I think this was a need for them late in the first round. I think Ayuk could have gone a few picks earlier, so I think they got good value out of this pick. And I like it a lot. I'm going to give it a B+.
Gage.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a B too in the B+ area. I think if any coach is gonna turn Ayuk into a productive player, it's gonna be Kyle Shanahan. He isn't the most impressive route runner and can be overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage, but when the ball's in his hands, he looks like a star. Having him and Deebo Samuel on the same roster, they're gonna have some fireworks in this offense. So great pickup by the San Francisco 49ers. He gets a B for this.
Next we have This is the one that pissed off a lot of people, shocked a lot of people. The Green Bay Packers. They get this from Miami, and you're thinking, okay, Packers are on the board, right? They, obviously they got to go receiver to help Aaron Rodgers here. They got to go, they got to get a weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And no, they drafted a QB, Jordan Love from Utah State. Wow. First of all, I didn't think Love would go this early, and I did not ever in a million years think he would be drafted by the Packers. And so, there's obviously some tension there with Aaron Rodgers. That was the first offensive player that the Packers have drafted in the first round since Aaron Rodgers. All these other great players that went through Green Bay. It was Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Eddie Lacy before he discovered Five Guys, and then Aaron Jones. All these people were late round picks for them. So that kind of gets me excited for Mike McCarthy, knowing that he could, he didn't really draft a lot of great players early on, but he made it work. But obviously you have to give credit to, having Aaron Rodgers too, the best quarterback in the NFL for a long time. And so, me and Gledhill have been talking about this one a lot. Aaron Rodgers probably has a good 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 if he stays healthy. And Brett Favre says, he doesn't think he's going to finish his career in Green Bay. I don't know. I honestly think it's going to be how the season goes. Who knows? Maybe Jordan Love is just an asset. Maybe he's just there to be a backup. But or not. Maybe they're just got Matt LaFleur is like, okay, I want this guy to be our next guy after Aaron Rodgers, and if that's the case, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to like that. But as far as the pick, I don't hate it. I don't think I think you're going to need a guy that's going to be able to be the next guy when Aaron Rodgers leaves. Now, obviously they needed more. As of right now, they needed more assets. They needed a receiver, a tight end, something like that. But so as far as if they needed him, maybe not. But I don't hate the pick. Like, I'm not as mad as Packers fans are, some other Aaron Rodgers fans are. I don't think it's too bad of a pick. But I understand why Packers fans are mad. And Gledhill said, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would demand a trade. So but as far as Jordan Love, this is a good situation for Jordan Love. He gets to develop, if everything goes well, he gets to develop under a quarterback as a backup for a couple years. And if anything happens to Aaron Rodgers, hey, go in there and your time to shine. As far as the quarterback position, I don't think it's terrible, but it's not anything like, whoa. So I'm going to give this Jordan Love. Don't know too much about him as far as a player. I know, played for Utah State. He had potential, but yeah, I don't know. He's going to take, if he ever ends up being a starter in this league, it's going to take him a couple years to get to it. And that's if he ends up being a good player. But no, he's a backup. When I look at this pick, I think backup. I think all backup. So Jordan Love, I give this pick a C-. Gledhill.
Yeah, this will be the last pick I do before I go eat dinner. Yeah, I like it for Love. I mean, for Jordan Love, this is one of the better situations he could go into. I think he's going to be able to sit for a few years, not be rushed into starting day one. If you're Jordan Love, you don't want to go to a place like Jacksonville, where you might be pressured to come in pretty early on because there is some uncertainty at the quarterback position. Whether you're the Packers, you're a good organization overall, well-run franchise. You got Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to worry about coming in day one. You can come in, learn. And I think I was listening to something earlier today, and I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, I think you want to help Jordan Love, because if you help Jordan Love really progress, then all of a sudden Jordan Love can come in, be the Packers starter in a few years. Rodgers maybe still has a couple decent years left. He can say, hey, you guys trade me to the Chargers or the Saints. Maybe Drew Brees is done, or the Rams. Maybe Jared Goff, is no good anymore, and the Rams need a quarterback. Sean McVay, I think, can use Aaron Rodgers pretty freaking well. So I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, you help Love right now in the short run, and in 3 years he'll be good enough to start. Aaron Rodgers still has 2 good years. Could go to the Saints, Chargers, Rams. Still have a couple of good years. Maybe win a Super Bowl there. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, I think you have the right to be pissed off. But I think if you're smart, I think you help Jordan Love in this situation. But at the same time, though, I don't think the Packers are really building around Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, you saw that they didn't draft a single wide receiver, I don't believe. You got a running back. With their next pick, the guy from A.J. Dillon or whatever from Boston College. You don't know a ton about him. They get a running back, get some O-line help, I think. So it looks like they're going to be more of a running team anyways. I don't think they trust Aaron Rodgers nearly as much as they did. I don't think Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers have the best relationship. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, I think you should hope to play somewhere else to finish your career. And because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is winning another Super Bowl in Green Bay. I'll cap it off with that.
No, I didn't ever see him winning a Super Bowl in Green Bay. Anyways, he did it one time, and he was young. He was 27 years old at the time. So yeah, I just didn't see it. But we appreciate you joining us, Gledhill. These next few picks don't even matter anyways. So we'll catch you next time. See you, bro.
Sweet. See you guys.
Gage, we're kind of going on with what Gledhill was saying. That would be the right thing to do for Aaron Rodgers to be like, okay, this is a guy, he's going to be my backup. Hey, let me show you the ropes. But he's not going to do that because he's already said to Green Bay multiple years in a row, hey, I don't like the way we've been drafting in the first round. I want, players to help us out, help us win, and they haven't been doing that. So I think this one is just kind of the spark, that's it. I'm done. This is it for me. So I think there's going to be problems in Green Bay. That's why. Yeah. But what do you think?
In Jordan Love's situation, what Glenn Hill was saying, I think it's like a B grade scenario in the long-term run. Like, let him sit until Aaron Rodgers leaves.
It's not a bad pick.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. But I'm going to speak with Packers fans and his organization. It deserves a D- for a draft grade. You could have gotten a receiver, an offensive lineman, anything to help Aaron Rodgers to win now. But this pick isn't going to make the Packers a team that's going to win anytime soon. If I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd leave. I think it was a bad thing to do for Aaron Rodgers to do this to him like that. After all he's given y'all, you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Because you know how quarterbacks are. No quarterback wants you to ever draft another quarterback in the draft. It's just a given fact. So I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to help him out. I think Jordan Love's going to have to figure it out on his own. And I feel like it's just a really bad rep for the Packers to do that to him like that.
Yeah, we all know this is like a Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation back in 2004. Exactly. You know how much Brett Favre hated Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Went to the Vikings after that.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe Jordan Love doesn't end up taking his spot, but shoot, if Aaron Rodgers demands a trade and they trade him, he's going to have to be the guy, So
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, this is a terrible situation for the Packers because not only did they not get help for Aaron Rodgers, now they're going to have basically the same team that they did last year with a good coach.
God.
But they had an easy schedule last year. That's the only reason they went 13-3. They were beating easy teams, so they're going to have a harder schedule this year with the same team. The Packers might not even make the playoffs, dude.
No, they're going to get a top 10 pick. I bet you. They're going to have a hard schedule this season.
Yeah, and Aaron. Oh, dude, this is going to be controversy. All right, we're almost done here. Seattle Seahawks, Jordan Brooks, linebacker from Texas Tech, trying to build off of that Legion of Boom defense, try to get it back to what it was. I'm glad they went linebacker. I'm glad they went defense. Need to build up that defense to get it back. We already know Russell Wilson in the offense is going to be fine. He can work with anybody. So this is a good pick.
Right.
He's solid. I give it a B+. What do you think?
I don't really know much about this Jordan Brooks guy. I'm going to give him a C+. I'm going to be more on the upside about it. But it's a pass-happy league. This guy's just more of a run stuffer. That's what's telling me right here. He's more of running. He likes to stuff the run a lot. But I feel like the pick they should have gone, which was we're going to talk about it later, Patrick Quinn, it makes this grade a lot lower than what it should be. So I'm going to give it a C+.
Very nice. Baltimore Ravens, 28. They get Patrick Queen. I thought the Saints were going to get him. We already talked about that. They're going to already stack the stack defense that they already have. He fits well with them. He kind of replaces that CJ Mosley type role that they had a couple years ago, but they ended up getting rid of him because he wanted too much money and he had injury problems. So, they get Patrick Queen, and he's going to be a lot like CJ Mosley. The reason I'm not going to give this grade any higher than a B+ is because I think Patrick Queen as a player, he has A- potential. But as far as the pick, I think the Ravens needed to go receiver to help Lamar Jackson out. And I don't know. I just don't.
Right.
He helps the defense, but this is not the most need of the Ravens. So I'm gonna but he's still a solid pickup. So I give it a B+.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it more of an A. This is the Ravens just landed a perfect modern linebacker. Yes, he's undersized, sure, but he's quicker thinker who can fly all over the field. Just like you say, he's like a CJ Mosley. I feel like the Baltimore got good value out of this pick. Filled a need and found a guy who fits perfectly in their scheme. Yeah, they could have gone receiver, but I felt the Baltimore Ravens drafted really well in this draft, really solid. So I'll give an A right here.
They did. Next, 29, Tennessee Titans get Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle for Georgia. He automatically replaces Jack Conklin, the loss there at offensive tackle. It's going to help open the holes for Derrick Henry, help Ryan Tannehill. And so Derrick Henry will be playing under the franchise tag this season. See if he gets a long-term contract next season. He probably will. This helps him out. And I like the pick. I don't know too much about this guy, but he's played in the SEC. He's got his experience. He's a big guy. So I'm going to give it a B. Gage?
I'm going to be a little harsh here. I don't know much about this guy. Hopefully he'll improve if he gets in the league. But I'm going to give this a D+.
Oh.
They said here there are better tackles still on the board, and Wilson never really looked comfortable as a pass protector at Georgia, it says. They said the Titans are banking on his potential, but others suggest that he's not going to be a great pass blocker. So I get it. They have a great offensive line, and Derrick Henry's going to help it out, but I'm not so crazy about this pick. So that's all I have to say.
All right, and then Vikings pick 31st here from San Francisco. They get Jeff Gladney, cornerback for TCU. Don't know too much about this guy. I know he was a better cornerback than AJ Terrell. That's all I can say. But yeah,
right.
The Vikings also needed to address the cornerback position. They lost Xavier Rhodes there, and they lose some secondary help with their safety. So yeah, this is not too much of a good pick, but it's kind of just like a safe pick.
Right.
I give this about a C-. Gage, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a C+ or a B- for the potential. They say he's a playmaker who will immediately start in the Vikings' depleted secondary, like you said. He's a little bit of a risk taker, and that can cause some trouble, but I think it was a position need that the Vikings desperately needed for their secondary. it's a solid pick. So, yeah, I'll give it like a B minus.
And last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. They picked Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back from LSU. This dude's he's fast, he's tough, and he's already stacking that Kansas City Chiefs offense. It's already scary. So, I think he's better than Damian Williams or LaShawn McCoy, so I think he's going to be a starter from day one. And, yeah, they finally stacked the offense. So, this is a good pickup. As terms of making the offense better, it's probably like an A minus, but, he's an average back. I give it about a B plus. Gage, what do you think?
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with the grade. I'm going to give it a B. I don't think it's a necessary need for this pass-happy offense that they have. But he's a shorter back, but he's well built. Lower center of gravity makes him hard to tackle, though. I think Andy Reid's going to have a field day with the LSU product. It's a great pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. They need a running back to replace Damian Williams, so definitely be a starter.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens from there.
All right, yeah. Okay, and so wrapping it up a little bit, we'll just go ahead and go through these teams because we went through all the first round. So we'll just go ahead and get a grade for every team. So first, let's just kind of go down the list starting here. Arizona Cardinals, their draft picks were Isaiah Simmons, Josh Jones, Lakeith Fotu, Rashad Lawrence, Evan Weaver, and Eno Benjamin. Their overall grade was an A. Gage, I'm going to have to agree. I think the Cardinals had a really solid draft. I'm going to give them an A too. I think they got Isaiah Simmons, the best player available at the time that they needed to get, and they're helping build that defense. And I think the Cardinals are going to be a team to watch out for next season. So I give them an A for that. I agree with what they gave them. I give them an A.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Eric. I think the Cardinals did a great job picking up Isaiah Simmons, and I did like their draft. I feel like this will help them out a lot. And the Arizona Cardinals are a team to watch out for next year. I think they can really make the playoffs, and they're a team to watch out for. So, yeah, I'll give it an A.
And then coming up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons. They gave them overall grade of B+. Clemson, A.J. Terrell, Auburn defense tackle Marlon Davidson, Temple center Matt Hennessy, Fresno linebacker Mekhi Walker, Cal, Jalen Hawkins, and punter Sterling Hoffershirts. So honestly, I think they're being a little too lenient here. I don't think the Falcons deserve a B+. I wasn't too happy with their draft with A.J. Terrell. I think that kind of messed it up. I think, Marlon Davidson, defense tackle, they filled it. They addressed the defense this draft, which was good. They needed to do that. So they did good there. But they could have got a better number one overall guy at A.J. Terrell there. So that kind of just ruined the whole draft for me. The second round and the third round, later rounds, doesn't make it a terrible draft, but it doesn't make it a necessarily good draft. I give the Falcons a C+.
Ooh. I'm going to give it a little higher. I'm going to give it a B-. Of course, I thought the Terrell pick was a reach. Although it was smart of the Falcons to address the secondary, I just feel like they could have gotten someone better. Davidson was a much better pick, and he should get a boost in the Atlanta's defensive line. Hennessy could potentially replace Alex Mack. So it wasn't a flashy draft, but at least the Falcons attempted to address some of the needs over the weekend. So, yeah, I'll give it a B-. Not the greatest draft, but it was all right.
That was close to me. C+, B-. One grade off. Baltimore Ravens. They go Patrick Queen. Then they go running back J.K. Dobbins to help out because Mark Ingram's getting older. That's a good pick up there. Justin Matabuke, defensive tackle from Texas A&M. He's actually siblings with one of the girls on my track team. Fun fact. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be a pretty solid player.
So,
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. I was going to say that we're going to get the grade on this.
Yeah. And then they addressed some other linebacker defensive positions. So, yeah, for not getting they gave him an A, but for not getting a receiver, they get a receiver, but I don't know too much about him. I thought they would have gotten early. For not getting a receiver, I'm going to give them a B+. But they had a really good draft. Actually, no, I give them an A-. I think they deserve an A. So that's what I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree, Eric. I got an A- too. The draft went just as good as it possibly could for the Ravens, I think. They got some help from the front seven and Queen, Mabuki, I'm sorry I messed up his name, Harrison. They add some offensive skill players in Dobbins, Dervene, and Prochet. I'm butchering these names, but they got two young offensive linemen. I think this was a solid draft by the Ravens. I'll give them an A-. They definitely didn't address the need for a receiver, but I feel like it was a really solid draft all around for the Baltimore Ravens.
Bills build on their defense, getting AJ Apinza, number 54. They get Zach Moss to help with Devin Singletary because, I think they could use them very well. Gabriel Davis, wide receiver. Georgia QB Jake Fromm, who they got him late. And then they got a kicker and another wide receiver. They gave him an A. I think that's a little too high. I don't think they did that great. I'm going to give them about a B. I think a B is fair for the Bills. I think they had a solid draft, but not anything that kind of wowed me. So I give them a B.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B also. Penza was pretty dramatic from potentially being the second edge rusher in the class to slide all the way down to the Bills in the second round. I just feel like the Buffalo Bills defensive line just got a whole lot tougher. And with Tom Brady gone, I feel like they have a good chance at winning the division. So, yeah, the Buffalo Bills had a pretty decent draft, so I'll give them a B for that.
They're the favorites to win, even if the Dolphins are on the come-up.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers, they get Derek Brown. We like that pick. They get another defensive end, safety, cornerback, safety, defensive tackles, cornerback. They focus all the defense here in the draft. That helps them out a lot. But I really do.
Yeah.
I really do like the Panthers' defense, but what's really going to pull them back this year is their offense. I don't think their offense is going to be that great with Teddy Bridgewater. I think they're going to be pretty conservative, pretty average at best. I see them fighting with the Falcons for last in that division. So, but as far as the draft, they gave them an A-. That's too high for me. I give it a B. B-, B.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the B- also. And this is the first draft with Matt Rule in charge. Like you said, Carolina went all defense with its 7 picks. I feel like it's more plugins, and it'll be good that the Carolina Panthers defense will progress and get better. But like you said, the offense is what we need to worry about. And I don't think they're going to have the most fantastic season even with this draft class. So I'll give it a B. Solid grade.
Chicago Bears, Notre Dame tight end Cole Kmet. That's a really good pick. They got him number 43 overall. He was the best tight end in the draft. So he helps out Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles, whoever they're going to start. They get Jalen Johnson, cornerback, a couple picks after, Tulsa linebacker, another cornerback, wide receiver, offensive guard. So they got some positions that they needed. They didn't have a first-round pick. And they get them overall grade of B+. For not having a first-round pick, it's hard to give them anything higher than a B+, I think. But having Cole Kmet helping them on the offensive side. But I don't think the Bears, if the Bears defense, we already know it's going to be good, but the offense is just so horrendous. Yep. I give them around the same as about the Panthers, Gage, B-.
Yeah, I have to agree, too. I'll give them a B-. I like the K-Met pick, but I think it's kind of weird because I think the Bears already have a slew of tight ends on their roster, right? They didn't really need a tight end, didn't they?
No, because they lost Trey Burton. They released him.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, but they did sign Jimmy Graham.
I think. Oh yeah, that's right. They did sign Jimmy Graham, but no, I think he's a better pick. K-Met. Johnson was a good selection. A few spots later, adding to Chicago's secondary. And also Mooney, potential at receiver because of his spectacular speed. But the Bears didn't do all that well. Their offense is still going to be hot garbage next season. So we'll just wait and see. But I'll give it a B-.
Cincinnati Bengals obviously get Joe Burrow number 1 overall. Then they get T. Higgins with the first pick in the second round. They get Logan Wilson, another linebacker, defensive end, offensive tackle, and a linebacker. So what really stands out for the Bengals draft is their first 3 picks: Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson. Those are all great picks right there. They gave them an A. I totally agree. I think they deserve about an A- A grade. I think they did really good. It's hard not to mess up that draft when you have good draft picks like that and you get Joe Burrow. So I'm not saying the Bengals are going to do anything. They probably won't. But as far as the grade in the draft, they get an A, A-.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to give him an A-. Of course, I love the Burrow pick with the number 1 pick. I love Higgins as a receiver, the next pick that they got. That said, I think Wilson, Davis, Gaither are good linebackers and good value picks in these spots. And I think it's a great weekend for the Bengals. It's possibly a transformative one for Cincinnati. So great pickups by the Bengals. So, yeah, they get an A-.
Cleveland Browns, Alabama offensive tackle Jedrick Willis, number 10 overall. We already said that was a great pick for them. He's going to make an impact for Baker Mayfield, right? Had the offense. Then they get Grant DuPlessis, who we thought the Cowboys could have possibly got there. So that's already two solid picks. They get a defensive tackle, Jordan Elliott, another linebacker, a tight end, and a center, and a wide receiver. So Cleveland had a really good draft. They did.
They really did.
Yeah, they had a good draft. So if they're going to do anything, this is the year to do it with a new coach. Baker Mayfield's out of the sophomore slump now. So we'll see what they can do. They gave him an A. I give him an A.
Wow, I'm just agreeing with you with everything, Eric. I got an A also. I think Cleveland Browns had a pretty good draft. I don't think the Browns fans should be complaining about this draft with the picks of Wills and Del Pitt. I also like Brian Harris and People Jones in the 6th round is a steal. I like this draft by the Browns. I think it's pretty solid. This will help Baker Mayfield out, and I think they'll be a playoff team, a team to watch out for also. So I give it an A.
Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, 17. Woo! Alabama, Trayvon Diggs, number 51, stole him. Naval Gallimore, great player for OU on the defensive side. Reggie Robinson, the dark horse at cornerback. They said he could possibly make an impact right away.
Oh my God.
And then Tyler Bedaz, center, to replace Travis Frederick. Voted best offensive lineman in 2019.
Exactly.
Then we get a defensive end from Utah who had 60 career sacks or 40 career sacks with Utah in his career. So he's developed. James Madison, QB, that was the only kind of pick that was like, but, I mean, it's a backup, whatever. And then, this is my first A+, Gage. We won the draft.
Eric? No, I was about to say the same thing. Not being biased, I'm just being 100% real. The Dallas Cowboys won the draft. A+, 1 through 6. Oh, it was just amazing. I just can't believe we get the best receiver with the 1st round pick in CeeDee Lamb. 2nd round, we get Diggs, who people projected to be the 17th pick for us in some mock drafts. Trevor Diggs.
Yeah.
And then we get Gallimore from OU, defensive tackle, who's just he just game wrecks defensive lineman. He goes right through him. Big dude. And then we got Bedaz, a potential replacement for the retired Travis Frederick. So I feel like we address every position need in this draft, and I feel like we're going to usher a new age of the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel like we're going to be a deep playoff team for years to come. A+ all the way.
Yeah, we should definitely win the division. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. Of course.
Denver Broncos, Alabama, Jerry Jeudy, obviously the first pick. They get Penn State wide receiver KJ Hamler. They already loaded that offense. They get a cornerback. They get a center, a defensive tackle, a tight end, a linebacker, offensive guard, wide receiver, linebacker. Broncos, they get an A. They had an amazing draft, great draft. Drew Lock is getting a lot of good weapons. So if he doesn't perform well, then it's on him. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're gonna have a problem. Broncos are gonna be a playoff team this year. Great, they get an A.
You get an A. I'm gonna be more lenient towards here. I don't really know much about the Broncos draft class. I only know their first 2 picks in Jeudy and Hamler. That's what the guy's name was. Really back-to-back great picks for the Broncos. They got a very fast tight end and Okwig Bunham. I can't even say his name. What's the tight end's name on there?
I don't even know. Bunham or something like that.
Denver did address the offensive line, but I thought the Broncos could have used an offensive tackle to potentially replace Garrett Bowles, but other than that, it deserves a B. Jarrett Jeudy, though, the pick deserves an A+ by itself, but other than that, I give him a B. Denver Broncos.
Detroit Lions, building on that defense, getting Jeff Okudu, DeAndre Swift in the 2nd round, who will be the starter, because I don't Kerryon Johnson is up and down. They get a linebacker, they get an offensive guard, wide receiver, running back, defensive end, defensive tackle. Lions defense is going to be really good, but it's really Matt Patricia that's going to kind of bring them down and just that franchise as a whole. Right. But they had a great draft. They gave him an A-. I give him about a B+, A-.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Eric. I'm going to give him a B+. I like the Jeff Okudah pick. I like that they were working on their defense. It just depends on Matt Patricia, like you said. Really nothing much to add here. I think it was a solid draft class by the Detroit Lions.
Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, Running back A.J. Dillon, tight end, linebacker, offensive guard, center, offensive guard, defensive back, DN, no receivers, which is absolutely the position that they needed, and they gave him a C+. I'm sorry, no. This is honestly, this is a failure of a draft page. I give this an F.
It's a big failure. I'm going to give him a D+ on the upside just because of the long-term future in Jordan Love. But Degara is the closest thing they got to immediate help as a pass catcher for Rodgers. Dillon seems like an odd pick, although I like his talent, though. But I just don't understand the thought process in this draft. I just don't understand why you take a quarterback in the first round where you could trade down in the late first round or the early second round to get Jordan Love. So, God, I hate this draft. There's a complete failure for the Green Bay Packers. They deserve a D+.
First F of the draft for me. Houston Texans had a quiet draft. They get a defensive tackle, they get a linebacker, they get an offensive tackle, they get a cornerback, they get a wide receiver. Kind of a quiet draft. They gave them a B+. I think that's a little too high. I give them a C+.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going to give him the C+. Interesting fact, the guy who they drafted, Blacklock, the defensive tackle from TCU, I had class with him. I used to talk with him.
Really?
Yeah, that's who I used to talk to. We were in religion class, and we both hated that class, so we just talked shit about it. But other than that, Houston Texans get a B, and that's all I have to say about the Houston Texans.
You give it a B or a C+?
Oh, no, C+. I'm sorry. I'm not giving it a B. Screw that. C+.
All right, Indianapolis Colts. They had a good draft. They get they didn't have a first round pick. They traded it, but they get Michael Pittman, USC wide receiver, who's really good. They needed to address the receiver position. They get Jonathan Taylor, who I think as a second round running back, he has the most upside up there with DeAndre Swift. I think he could be the starter up there. Right. I think he'd be the starter up there. Julian Blackmon, a safety. A QB, Jacob Eason, who could possibly be the future, like way down the road after Phillip Rivers retires and Jacoby Brissett, is probably not going to be there all his years. Offensive guard, defensive tackle, cornerback, another wide receiver, linebacker. So the Colts had a really good draft. They gave him an A-. I wouldn't exactly give him an A-. I'd give him about a B+. They had a really good draft, though.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going to give him a B+, especially when Indianapolis didn't have a first-round pick after trading for Buckner. But very solid draft class by them. Pittman and Taylor should be instant contributors on offense to help support Phillip Rivers. But the most important pick, I think, the young quarterback that you said they took, Eason, I think is a great value pick in the fourth round and have potential long-term. So I thought it was a great draft class by the Colts.
Could be another Dak Prescott right there.
Yeah, another Dak Prescott right there. Hopefully not as good as him, though. So,
Jacksonville Jaguars, they get here. This is where a lot of people are going to hate me on this one. They gave him an A because they get C.J. Henderson and Chassion early in the round, so that automatically just makes them really good. Then they get Lavasky Shenault as a wide receiver, Hamilton, and some other key pieces, but I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be a good team. Those two players, they'll get a B-. But I'm sorry, the rest of their draft, it doesn't stand out to me, and I think it's a little overrated to give them an A. I give them a B-, Gage.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a B. Close grade with you. I feel like they were good picks with Henderson and Chason to replace Ramsey and Ngakoue. Other than that, though, offensively, Shenault has some outstanding ability after a catch as a receiver. But it just depends on Minshew as the guy at quarterback. I feel like this draft was decent, solid, but only the first two picks I really liked from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to give them a B.
Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs, LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, solid pick. Willie Gay, linebacker. Offensive tackle, Lucas Neon. Louisiana Tech, safety. Michigan, defensive end, and a cornerback. So they did address the defense later in the rounds. We thought they were to try to do defense first round. They gave him a B+. I'd lower it one more, give him a B. It was a solid draft. Not anything special. I'd give him a B.
Yes, I agree. B, that's a solid draft by the Chiefs. They definitely need to address the defense. They got their running back in the first round, of course. Solid draft class. Really nothing else to say. They're Super Bowl champions. They're going to be just fine, even if this draft class is not successful.
Las Vegas Raiders, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, Lynn Bowden, South Carolina wide receiver, Clemson linebacker, Clemson offensive guard, Louisiana Tech cornerback. They gave him a B. I think that's fair. Obviously the Henry Ruggs pick is the one that's kind of like but they gave him a B. I'm gonna lower it a little bit, Gage, and I'm gonna give him a just because they got Arnett. I'll keep it from giving me a C.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'll keep him from giving me a C plus, so I'll be a B minus.
No, man, I'm going to be a little bit more harsh. I'm going to give him a C, man. That was a terrible first-round pick by choosing Henry Ruggs. I did like Arnett, and taking receivers back-to-back was an addressing need, so that's why I give him a C. I'm not going to give him a D or an F. The Simpson guy they got will provide depth on the offensive line, and Robinson is a decent nickel corner despite his lack of size. Other than that, they get a C. I'm not really crazy about the Las Vegas Raiders. They made boneheaded picks for the most part, and that's the grade they get.
Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert, Kenneth Murray, Joshua Kelly running back with Eckler, Joe Reed, wide receiver, Notre Dame safety, and then another wide receiver. Chargers overall had a successful draft. They gave him an A. I'll lower it one, give him an A minus. They had a really good draft.
Yeah, I'll give him a B plus. I like the Justin Herbert pick for the long-term future. I didn't like how they didn't have a pick in day 2, but they made some good value picks in day 3, capping out by grabbing a Hill in the 7th round. But I'll give him a B plus. I thought it was a solid draft by the Chargers.
Los Angeles Rams, Florida State running back Cam Akers, Florida State wide receiver Van Jefferson, linebacker, safety, tight end, safety, linebacker, kicker, and guard. They gave him an A. There is no way I'm giving the Rams an A for this draft. I'm sorry. This team is falling apart. This is basically just plugins right here to try to fill in for all those players that they lost. The running back, yeah, Cam Akers is solid, but he's pretty much just replacing Todd Gurley. Another thing that they had to cut because of money and injury history. So no, there's no way this team gets an A. I give this team like a C plus.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. I give him a C plus. I find it a very bizarre decision by passing on J.K. Dobbins to take Akers at running back. The Rams are just a dumpster fire of cap. So I'm not really liking this draft class, but I'll give him a C plus. So that's all I have to say about it.
Miami Dolphins, Tua, offensive tackle Austin Jackson, cornerback, offensive tackle, defensive end, safety, and running back. So they had a really good, and then they already had a really good free agency. Miami, it's hard not to have a good grade when you just have freaking so many picks. They gave him an A minus. I think that's fair. I'll give him an A minus. I'll match it.
I'll give them a B. The draft was somewhat of a mixed bag for the Dolphins. They took the right quarterback at number 5 into although he does have injury concerns. The next several picks feature a lot of reaches, but they did get a nice 5th-round pick in Strobridge and Weaver. The Dolphins also got in the draft Matt Breida from the 49ers in the trade, and that'll help them tremendously in the run game. So they deserve a B, a solid draft class.
Minnesota Vikings, great draft class. Justin Jefferson, Jeff Gladney, offensive tackle, cornerback, defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive end, safety, and guard. Vikings filled the holes. They got their number 1 receiver. They got an A. They get an A, bro. They had a great draft. I thought they had a fantastic draft, and they're a team to wreck with. So they get an A.
Yep, I agree, man. I give them an A. The first 3 picks were fantastic. Grabbing Jefferson, Gladney with the 31st pick, and Cleveland should be a good tackle if you just add some strength, add some muscle. Overall, yeah, they address their needs. They have a balanced draft, and Vikings get an A.
Patriots get a B, on paper they got him getting a B. Safety Kyle Duggar, Michigan State linebacker, tight end, kicker, offensive guard. All these no-name players that they got, but Belichick will probably find some way to make it work with all these no-name people. But as far as a standpoint, they did get a quarterback, and Jarrett Stidham is going to be their guy. Oh, gosh, good luck. Yeah, they get a B for this draft grade. I'm going to give them a D because these players are not good. But Belichick will probably make them into star players, Gage, knowing Bill Belichick. But I give the grade overall a D.
This is for the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get. Well, you said a D. You give them a D.
Maybe that's a little too. I'll do C minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I'll give them a C minus. They didn't draft a quarterback in the draft. I guess we're sticking with Stidham, which is interesting to say the least. I don't know what Bill Belichick's thinking, but Duggar and Yuki should be difference makers, and Jang is pretty solid. They took 2 chances to try and replace Gronkowski at tight end with Asasi and Keene, and spent most of the day reinvesting offensive linemen. So I really don't know what Bill Belichick's thinking. Don't really know much about these picks. I'm just going to trust in Bill Belichick and see what he does. So I'm with you, man. I'll give him C minus, man. It wasn't the greatest draft.
New Orleans Saints, center Cesar Ruiz, Wisconsin linebacker Zach Bond, but they could have had Patrick Queen, Dayton tight end, and a quarterback. So they only had like 5 picks. And they gave him an A minus.
Wow.
I don't agree with that.
A minus?
Yeah, there's no way. I give them a C plus. Yeah, I think that's fair. They could have gone a linebacker earlier and the center 2 years in a row. Yeah, just not good for a team that's trying to win a championship.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. C plus. They grabbed the best interior offensive lineman, Ruiz, and it's never a bad thing taking an offensive lineman, but it's just you're in a win now situation. You could have put some addressing a position at need, especially for Drew Brees. So I'm going to give him a C plus right here.
New York Giants, offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, who was not the best tackle going in, but they get McKinney in the second round, which is a great pickup. I was hoping the Cowboys could sneak him in. They get offensive tackle, cornerback, offensive guard, linebacker, cornerback, linebacker. Would have liked them to get Isaiah Simmons over the tackle first. So, I mean, they gave him a B+. I give him about a B. They had an average draft, pretty good draft. I give him a B.
I'll give him a B-, somewhere close to that. I'm going to be more on the glass is half empty, but they did get a pure left tackle to help protect Daniel Jones. McKinney was a nice pick. I really did like that pick in McKinney. And Pert has a good developmental potential. But other than that, I'm a Cowboys fan by heart. I'm going to give him a B-, but was a bad weekend for the Giants.
New York Jets. Mekhi Becton, wide receiver, Denzel Mims, Ashton Davis, Jordan, Jabari Zunga, running back, quarterback, offensive tackle, cornerback. They give the Jets an A-. What? Give the Jets an A-.
What?
Yeah.
Which paper are you reading off of, man? What the hell?
Probably Becton. I mean, he's athletic, but not getting a receiver early, and Denzel Mims, he's solid, but he won't be a starter. Yeah, the Jets didn't do anything too special. I'm gonna give him a C, Gage.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna give him a C. It says on my paper they're gonna give him a B, but I'm gonna go with a C for them. Becton instead of a worst is something I'm gonna keep my eye on to see if they messed up on that draft pick. Becton has massive potential, but also has very low floor. I think the Mims is a good pick. I think it's a potential game breaker receiver. And then Davis and Hall has injury concerns. So not that crazy about the New York Jets draft class. So I'm going to give him a C.
Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Reger, Jalen Hurts, linebacker, safety, offensive guard, wide receiver, linebacker, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive end. Philly, I just, maybe Jalen Reger, like we said, could be a better player than we think, but you could have got Justin Jefferson, and why would you get Jalen Hurts at the second round? Like, that just, yeah. And they're not, like, he deserved to be I see him as a backup, but I thought he was going to be a late third rounder as a backup on, like, a team that would actually, like, need him if things went wrong. It's like the Eagles aren't really going to use him except maybe try to use him as, like a Taysom Hill
budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
Bless.
Thank you. So they gave him an A-. I'm sorry. I mean, it's an underrated draft class. There's no way they get an A-. but it wasn't a terrible. I give the Eagles get a straight C, Gage.
I'll do you one better, Eric. I'm going to give him a C plus for this because I don't know from years from now if Jalen Hurts, I think could be a better version of Taysom Hill. We just need to see him throw a little bit more. It is a head-scratching move right now, but I think years later we'll look back on this, and it could be a steal. Who knows? But I really don't like any of their other picks, though. Reger's all right. Wanago in the 6th round. I just don't get Doug Peterson, who they were drafting, but I'm going to give him a C plus for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just a little bit better just because of the potential of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, he does have potential. I feel like he would have better potential on a better team, though, or on a different team.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, not
right.
Eagles. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers, wide receiver Chase Claypool, linebacker, running back, offensive guard, center, defensive tackle. Didn't have a first-round pick. They gave him an A-, still too high for the Steelers. Underrated draft. I think they still need to address the quarterback position because Ben Roethlisberger is about to be out of there. A-, no way. I give him about a B-.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to give it a B-. It wasn't a terrible draft class by the Steelers. They start off with Claypool, which is a pretty good player to have. A young pass rusher in Hyde Smith and a solid final day. I really don't know much about these picks, but I think Pittsburgh Steelers are always pretty solid in their draft class, and so I'll give them a B. They did pretty well.
San Francisco 49ers, Javon Kinlaw, Arizona State running back or wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, offensive tackle, tight end, and wide receiver. So they got 2 first-round picks even after making the Super Bowl. I feel like they used it well. Even with Kinlaw, even if I'm not sold on him as much as you are, they addressed the wide receiver position. They give him a B+. I think that's fair. I give him a B+ as well. They had a good draft.
I'm going to give them an A-. They're more close to your grade, just a little higher. I'm really big into Kinlaw. I like the Ayuk player that they took, that speed threat for them for the passing game. They've also made some interesting depth picks on day 3, and they also traded for the Redskins tackle Trent Williams to help them out. So 49ers had a really good day that weekend, so I'll give them an A-.
Seattle Seahawks, linebacker, Texas Tech, defensive end, tight end, running back, wide receiver. It's a safe draft for the Seahawks, not anything special. They gave him a B. I give him a B-.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a C+. Lewis and Robinson were good picks, but other than that, this class left something to be desired, I think. I feel like they could have drafted better players, so I'm going to give him an average grade of a C. Actually, I'll change my mind to C.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Iowa, Tristan Wirfs helped Tom Brady. Safety, Antoine Winfield. That was a great pick. Vanderbilt, running back. Minnesota wide receiver, defensive tackle, linebacker, and a running back. Buccaneers didn't fool around trying to get Tom Brady the best tackle as they could. So it was a great draft for them. They gave him a B+. I agree. I give him a B+. Almost an A-.
Yep. They addressed the needs for Tom Brady, to help him succeed in Tampa. So I'll give him a B+. They tried everything to help Tom Brady with Wirfs and Johnson. I thought was a steal in the 5th round. And on defense, I'm a fan of Winfield and how versatile he can be a safety. So great pickups by Tampa Bay.
Tennessee Titans, Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle, LSU cornerback, Christian Fulton. That was a good pickup. Running back, Derek Avens, defensive tackle, QB, and defensive back. Kind of safe draft for Tennessee Titans. Nothing special. Christian Fulton does help. Don't know too much about Wilson yet. They gave him a B+. I'm going to go a little bit lower, say a B-.
Yeah, I got the same area. I got a B for the Titans. Took Wilson to try and replace Jack Conklin, right tackle. Fulton was a steal late in the 2nd round. I think that was probably my favorite pick by the Tennessee Titans. I like Evans as a compliment to Derrick Henry. So overall, I think this is a pretty solid draft by the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to give them a B.
And last but not least, the Washington Redskins get the best player in the draft, Ohio State edge rusher Chase Young. Memphis running back Antonio Gibson, offensive tackle Chard, Liberty wide receiver, San Diego center, linebacker, safety, defensive end. They gave him an A-, and I think that's a lot to do with Chase Young being on the team. Right. I wouldn't quite give him an A-, but I do think that they did have a little bit better of a draft than the Giants, so I'm going to give them a B+.
Wow, Eric, yeah, you're just reading my mind. I got a B plus also. I wouldn't give it an A either. I just think because Chase Young, that's why people are so high on the Washington Redskins draft class. But the rest of the draft after drafting Chase Young was about starting to help out Dwayne Haskins with Gibson and Gandy Golden being two different styles of receivers to Washington. So I think it was a solid, pretty good draft class. Not better than the Cowboys, but the Redskins did pretty well also. Give them B plus.
The Cowboys still won the draft. A plus.
A plus all the way.
All right. Well, that will do it. We went through all the first rounds, and then we went through the grades for the team. So that will do it today. It was a long one today. Freaking 2 hours. Jeez. That was a long one.
Oof.
But it was fun. And we will see you guys pretty soon here. Hopefully when the NBA season returns. Crossing my fingers.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. We'll see you guys. Peace out.